Warning: this video contains spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everyone, and welcome to Enclave Culture, your haven for all things culture. In this awesome video, I'll be reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine, directed by Shawn Levy and written by Reynolds, Shawn Levy himself, Rhett, Reese, Paul Wernick, and Wick. It stars Hugh Jackman, Reynolds, Emma Corrin, David Matthew McFadyen, Miranda Baccarin, Leslie Uggams, and more. Without further ado, please enjoy the video.
Let's fucking go.
Deadpool 3 as a concept has been in development as early as November 2016, 9 months after Deadpool 2016's release, even before Deadpool 2 2018 came out. The first film was such a resounding success. How could Fox not capitalize on that? However, plans for the threequel were delayed after 20th Century Fox was sold to Disney in 2018. The film's production was delayed by several months due to the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strikes, but production resumed around Thanksgiving of November 2023. The strike's terrible impact on the film and television industry sparked the notion that the film would be delayed, which petrified fans.
No!
But Shawn stated that he was confident that the film would be released in July 2024, and he was right.
You're looking very alive.
Ha! Only on the outside.
After an astounding 6-year hiatus, Deadpool and Wolverine has finally arrived. Is it truly as brilliant as the masses are claiming it to be? Is it the best MCU film since Spider-Man No Way Home 2021? Does it honor the late Fox X-Men franchise? Well, the answers are quite complicated. The basic plot of the film is that Deadpool, aka Wade Wilson, uses Cable's time-traveling wristband to travel from Earth 1005, the Fox dimension, to Earth 616, the MCU and the comics world. Then he tries to join the Avengers, but is rejected by Happy Hogan. 6 years pass, and Deadpool has retired his crime-fighting persona and lives a normal existence with the love of his life, Vanessa, as well as with his close friends. Deadpool then gets abducted by the TVA, Time Variance Authority, because of how he abused the sacred timeline by using Cable's wristband right during the events of Deadpool 2 by murdering his shitty doppelganger, X-Men Origins Wolverine 2009, which is honestly one of the most heroic deeds ever put to screen, and through preventing Vanessa and Peter's deaths. Don't you just love perfectly aligning plot devices? More props to you, screenwriters. Deadpool is brought in by the TVA to answer for his temporal crimes. Then he meets Mr. Paradox, a rogue, high-ranking TVA member, who explains to Wade that the Fox universe's timeline is deteriorating because of the death of its anchor being, Logan, after his death in Logan 2017. Since that universe is dying, Wade, Vanessa, and the rest of his allies will cease to exist forever. However, Mr. Paradox instructs him that he can save them all if he could find another Wolverine variant from another universe who could act as a new anchor being for that universe, armed with this knowledge. Deadpool goes on a universe-hopping trip as he meets multiple Wolverine variants throughout the multiverse, where he meets a Wolverine who is a depressed drunkard, a husk of his heroic self.
Why would I go with you?
Deadpool tells him about his dilemma, but he doesn't believe him, just laughs. Wolverine and Wade are about to fight, but then Logan just drinks himself to unconsciousness. Deadpool opens up a temporal portal and returns to the TVA with his prize, but Mr. Paradox notifies Wade that he got the worst Wolverine of them all. Deadpool and Wolverine then get into a fight with Mr. Paradox as they try to escape, but are then sent to the Void, where they meet Cassandra Nova, Charles Xavier's long-lost twin sister, and the main antagonist of the film. So as you can tell, the script of this movie is absolutely insane, just like its titular character.
Oh, whiskey dick of the claws.
Which brings me to the performances of this picture. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool was a match made in heaven. He embodies the merc with the mouth in every way. We all know that. Ever since his character was dishonorably maligned in Origins, he always fought to have this character get a proper live-action interpretation. Deadpool 1 showcased us this dream. Like the film itself, Deadpool is more bombastic, comedic, and mad than ever before. That isn't such a splendid thing. More on that later. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is such an iconic role that it's downright impossible to see any other actor replace him. After his tragic demise and the conclusion of Logan, fans believed that it was Jackman's swan song. The MCU always finds a way, now doesn't it? When Jackman announced that he would return as everybody's favorite Canadian, fans could not believe it. He did it, not because of a fat MCU paycheck like this great actor.
What can I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
He did it because of his deep friendship with Ryan and his admiration for Shawn Levy. Since he did not play the Logan we're all used to, he was given a unique opportunity to showcase a side to the Wolverine audiences have never really seen before. This is a Wolverine that is arguably more comic book accurate than ever before. Secondly, he is the guiltiest version of the character we have ever observed, even more so than in Logan. As for the actors like Morena Baccarin, Emma Corrin, and Michael Medvedian, all do an excellent job in their roles. Morena as Vanessa is just as charming and radiant as she was in the previous two films. She is Wade's anchor and is one of the few people in the world who keep him sane in a terrible world. However, her role was very limited compared to her debut, even her second appearance in Deadpool 2. Vanessa was always meant to be a supporting character, a romantic twin flame for the protagonist. However, in the comics, her character was in fact a mutant named Copycat, who has the ability to shapeshift. I wish that this trilogy would have made Vanessa a mutant, because that would have made her character and her dynamic with Wade that much more intriguing. I understand that this was always an Elseworlds take, but Vanessa's character did stifle after Deadpool 1, and that is a shame. In a film that has an army of characters in different multiverses, such an underdeveloped element is understandable. Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova is a true double-edged sword. Emma is a brilliant actress with a grand stage presence. She more than proved herself worthy after her incredible portrayal of a younger Princess Diana in The Crown 2018-2024. Sadly, however, this character did not gel well with me. They say reviewers should never include their biases in their works, but I must be honest, I never liked this villainess. Cassandra was created by Grant Morrison for his Ultimate X-Men run, which helped to kick off the Ultimate Universe. When I first read his X-Men work, I immediately disliked this antagonist. The main problem with this character is that she is such a gigantic retcon. It's unfathomable to digest. While it is true that the multiverse offers unlimited possibilities for storytelling, this what if just doesn't work, at least for me.
That's what we thought we wanted, and that was what we thought would work, and actually it really didn't.
Michael Medvedian as Mr. Paradox was a surprise for me. I was uneducated about this character before watching the film. The actor was able to play this secondary antagonist with an arrogant wittiness and a vile superiority complex. Mr. Paradox is the king of exposition in this story, as he explains almost everything about the multiverse here. His primary goal in the film was to take over the TVA, so that he could literally be the TVA. He was tired of being a mere lackey in a revolving machine of temporal authority. This character represents the slave who wishes to overthrow the shackles of authority and to rule over the system itself.
And he's sort of middle management, and he's probably a little bit frustrated with it.
Fascinating idea for sure, but one that was undermined by too much humor and superior characters. All the other characters like Blind Owl, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio, and Shatterstar are negligible at best. Deadpool's friends are so secondary, they act as background static to provide Deadpool with the motivation needed to save them from annihilation. The only reason the audience feels any connection to them is because of the franchise's legacy. That's it. Speaking of Deadpool's allies, where was Domino and Cable? They just didn't fit well enough with the script, I guess. I can understand Cable's absence because he went back to the future with his family, but I thought Deadpool at least considered Domino his friend, so she should have attended his birthday, at least. Oh well, I always prefer the gothic Domino. Anyways. The movie's pros would be the action, its high stakes, certain story elements, settings, cinematography, costume design, and some of its jokes. Ever since Fox took a chance on making a rated R Deadpool film, they proved that Marvel could be just as dark and gory as DC, if not even more so. After all, while DC made a name for itself with its various rated R movies like Zack Snyder's Watchmen 2009, Justice League 2021, and the Wachowski brothers' V for Vendetta 2006, and many others, it was Marvel who produced the first R-rated mainstream superhero film, Blade 1998. However, the first R-rated superhero film was Alex Proyas's The Crow 1994. Inspired by the Crow comic book from 1989, written by James O'Barr. The action in this movie is the bloodiest we've ever seen in the MCU so far. The choreography is stellar. The fighting styles of Deadpool, Wolverine, and the other combatants in the story are so unique and stay true to how they would battle in the comics. Deadpool's fighting abilities are jocular and playful, but Wolverine's fighting style is animalistic and brutal, more so than even in Logan and Wolverine. Especially at the end. The set locations are amazing. For starters, let us discuss the Void, the edge of the universe, where the TVA discards all its chronological garbage. Its location looks like an apocalypse, and Deadpool even jokes that it resembles a place from Mad Max. The Void is when all the Easter eggs come in. The moment Deadpool and Wolverine arrive here, we see a glimpse of Captain America's original shield from the Golden Age. The shield that Cap used to fight Hitler himself. We also see Thor's helmet from the Bronze Age. It also could have been Beta Ray Bill's helmet, who was the replacement for Thor after he was deemed worthy of wielding Mjolnir. Beta Ray Bill would later receive his own hammer, Stormbreaker, after Thor was deemed worthy again. The funniest Easter egg of this film is the decrepit 20th Century Fox studio logo, which Wolverine falls next to during his first altercation with Deadpool. A very low blow to the studio that helped bring these characters to life.
No wonder the Avengers didn't take you, or the X-Men, and they'll take fucking anyone. I mean, you are.
Regardless, this joke is still humorous because we know the reality of the situation. After their foolish battle with each other, the two anti-heroes are ambushed by remnants of the Brotherhood of Evil, Sabretooth, Pyro, and Toad from the original X-Men trilogy. Sadly, Ray Park was unable to reprise the role, so Daniel Medina Ramos was recast as the new Toad. Fans must commend the creators for bringing back the original actors to reprise their roles one last time. The rematch between Wolverine and Sabretooth was breathtaking to witness because this version of the villain has not been seen since the first X-Men. Taylor Mane never really got to fulfill his potential for the character before he was recast by Liev Schreiber in Origins. Liev was one of the best parts about that atrocious film. Unfortunately, this version of Sabretooth is wasted. Again, the writers hype up these two characters' rematch, but it was super disappointing. Right when Wolverine and Sabretooth clash, Logan decapitates his arch nemesis with ease. At least in the original X-Men, he plays his part as a secondary foil to Wolverine wonderfully, even if their infamous backstory in the comics didn't make the cut back then. In this picture, Sabretooth is reduced to being just another gag for Deadpool and the audience to laugh at. Pyro and Toad, played by Ray Park and Aaron Stanford respectively, are also wasted in this film. Both these characters made their debut in the original X-Men. However, Pyro is recast by Aaron for X2, X-Men United 2003, because the studio wanted an older actor to portray a young adult version of the villain. Bryan Singer and his co-writers wanted to create a new take for the character compared to Chris Claremont's comics. This version of the mutant, being a former X-Man turned member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, is a brilliant idea that was done very well in the OG trilogy. I always thought Pyro having a limitation where he could only bend fire, not generate it, was a fascinating weakness.
I can only manipulate the fire. I can't create it.
Due to his debilitation, the firebender requires flamethrowers and a gas canister hooked up to his back to help him start his fires. The best pyro scene in this film is when the Human Torch is fighting against the BOE, and then Pyro drains the hero's pyrokinetic energy from his body. Even though the Iron Man villain Firebrand has no powers and requires a suit, whenever I think of Pyro, I always compare him with the Batman villain Firefly, because of how they both require a mechanical apparatus to possess their true abilities. What a shame that this character faded into the background for the rest of the plot.
Oh, where do you think you're going? Sick of this kids' table shit, I'm going in there.
If you thought Pyro was underutilized, well, Toad was just a disgrace. He's placed in the story just to perish, which is ironic considering that his most famous scene from X-Men was his death scene when he was struck by lightning by Storm. In this project, he has no lines at all. At least he had some lines of dialogue in his first appearance, but here he's just white noise. His character was always utilized for his sheer, grotesque spectacle and to be a simplistic adversary for the heroes. Toad is a great comic book character, but the movies never fulfilled his potential.
Quit playing around.
However, the animated series, like X-Men, the animated series 1994 to 1997, and X-Men Evolution 2000 to 2003, provided the antagonist with the deep storytelling he deserves. Toad has always been a sympathetic character and represents humanity's discrimination against the deformed. He always thought that he was cursed by the universe because of his appearance and bizarre abilities, but Magneto gave him a home, place for outcasts like himself and Pyro to be their true selves instead of living in a world that despises them. This film fails them at this premise. Wolverine and Deadpool embody the primary theme of this story, which is family. Yes, there are other themes in this film, such as heroism, brotherhood, the effects of temporal manipulation, and tolerance, but family is what this story is all about. Deadpool 1 was about love. Deadpool 2 was about forgiveness. So this movie is about family. Regardless of his idiotic and vivacious nature, Deadpool was willing to traverse the entire universe and go against even time itself so that he can prevent the deaths of his family and friends. He even lied to Wolverine that he could actually resurrect the X-Men that perished in his universe just so that he could help him complete his quest. Wolverine's arc in this film was kind of a mirror of his arc in the original X-Men, where he goes from being an amnesiac loner with a traumatic past to becoming a mutant hero. But here, he goes from being a failure who cannot save the X-Men from death to redeeming himself and becoming the Wolverine, the X-Man that he always was. The movie's greatest flaws are nostalgia and childish comedy. This film exploits nostalgia like mega corporations exploit underpaid workers in third world countries. It milks the succulent sweetness of the past, worse than Spider-Man No Way Home. Not gonna lie, but when I was watching this film on Saturday, July 27th, with some bros of mine, I was legit shocked at some of these shocking cameos. Channing Tatum as Gambit, Wesley Snipes as Blade, Daphne Keane as Laura aka X-23, even Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. They're all here. On one half of the coin, this is amazing fan service for the movie fans and comics nerds, but on the other side, it can also be seen as a cheap way to conjure up intrigue. These characters may seem like fluff, but they play an integral role in the conclusion because they help our protagonists defeat Cassandra. Each of the actors does a superb job with the simplistic material they are given. I wonder how much they paid Wesley to reprise his role one last time. He says the most peculiar piece of dialogue in the whole story, that there's only one blade and there'll always be one blade.
No, I'm something else.
However, these words contradict the MCU's apparent plans for a reboot starring Mahershala Ali. Look, I think we can all agree that it'd be awesome if Wesley could be Blade for a little while longer, but the MCU still have fervent plans to move forward with their own vision of the vampire Daywalker. I personally do not trust the MCU to do justice to this character. due to their compulsive need to inject humor in almost every line of dialogue in their scripts. Only time will tell. For what it's worth, reports say that Mia Goth is attached to the Blade reboot. She's a rock star of an actress who takes chances with her roles. So we'll see what the future holds.
I've always had a larger vision for myself.
Channing Tatum playing Gambit was something in the works for years. I remember when the Gambit movie was supposed to come out on October 7th, 2016, which was the date of my birthday, funny enough. But then it was cancelled by Fox. What a disaster idea that was. Tatum was born to play the role and has tons of aptitude. He perfectly resembles the character from the comics. Additionally, his personality was expertly performed, even if his costume was a little off. The texture of his suit and headgear was a little tight as well. The worst aspect about Gambit was his over-exaggerated Cajun accent. Come on, why they have to do him like that? I may not be a Cajun myself, but I was born in Canada, Louisiana, so I took offense to this. It's a shame because Channing sounds just like Gambit should sound. It's just that the filmmakers made him go overboard just for jocular purposes.
Not thief or assassin. I am an X-Man.
Elektra is arguably the most controversial character in this project. Jennifer Gardner played this famous femme fatale in Daredevil 2003 and Elektra 2005, which are some of the most despised Marvel projects ever created. I always felt bad for the original Daredevil film because the movie was not unwatchable and the actors were excellent. It's just that the execution was poor. This version of Elektra is the most peculiar version of Daredevil's love interest fans have ever seen. Jennifer is a great actress, and she always did her best to portray the character.
I didn't get your name.
I didn't give it.
But she never had the best material to work with, especially with that abysmal Elektra movie. Here she returns just to be eye candy, just like the other cameos. Overall, while I do respect Levy's kind gesture to allow her to reprise the role one last time,
Come back, Elektra.
the best version of Elektra outside of the comics is from the Daredevil 2016 TV show, where she was portrayed by Elodie Chung.
Have fun.
Funny enough, Elektra in the comics is of Greek descent, and neither of these two actresses even look Greek. But there's never been an actress who has portrayed her that perfectly resembles her. While on the surface, they're neat fan service for the viewers, but once again, that is the biggest problem with this movie. It drowns the audience in nostalgia. The script tries to cloak its lack of originality with this corporate technique. Deadpool, of course, has all the best humorous dialogue. The Wolverine has the 6 best serious scenes. His most impactful scene was the scene he had with X-23 near the 3rd act. It's very touching and acts as a beautiful full circle to the relationship that was cemented at the end of Logan. Secondly, the scene where Wolverine gets his mind probed by Cassandra was very tense and emotional. The 3rd excellent scene was Wolverine's speech to Nova when Deadpool covers her head with a dome that neutralizes her telepathic abilities. Despite her being a pitifully written foe, his words to her about if Charles knew that he had a sister, he would have come for her, was touching. When he made Deadpool spare Nova, that showcased how a true X-Man would act in such a circumstance. Wolverine made a deal with her that if they would spare her life, he would open a portal, but they didn't realize that their fight was just beginning. Cassandra's ultimate plan the whole time was to expand the void across the entire universe. The other 3 scenes we'll get to shortly.
You're a survivor. What was happening?
In the 3rd act, Wolverine finally gets to put on his iconic mask before he and Deadpool annihilate the Deadpool clan. This is an awesome occasion that fans have been waiting forever for, but it was shoddy at best. His eyes look oversaturated with CGI to the point where it looks like a cartoon.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lensher.
Sounds Xavier.
Go fuck yourself.
Everybody loves Logan's mask, but you know we've got problems. When the Wolverine cowl from Batman the Sun's superpowered beatdowns look better than a $200 million blockbuster.
Lights out, bub.
As always, I comprehend that productions and VFX teams only have a set schedule to finish a project. However, haphazard finished product is super disappointing. Even when Wolverine fights with the mask on, it just doesn't look as natural as when he battles without the mask. The only excellent shot with it is when Wolverine and Deadpool jump out of the bus in slow motion as the camera hyper focuses on these two colossal figures. The scene where all the Deadpools band together is stunningly filmed and expertly choreographed. We have Ladypool, Kidpool, the whole posse. The fight choreography was incredible.
I'm the best service at what I do.
But once again, the brutal amount of comedy hurts the narrative weight in this part of the film. I'll admit that the final scene with Nicepool, where it's revealed that he doesn't possess a healing factor, was pretty funny, but it didn't compensate for the lack of gravitas. When Wolverine told Deadpool to allow him to stop Nova himself, that was a very powerful moment. Wolverine wanted to redeem himself, but Deadpool wouldn't let him because he refused to let him die. In classic cliche fashion, they had to work together, but this plot point worked well here. This part of the movie leads to the greatest emotional scene in the film, where they work together to prevent Cassandra from creating a void totality that would erase the whole world. These two anti-heroes are uniquely qualified to absorb antimatter and matter simultaneously. This scene exemplifies the fact that, despite these two's disparities, they possess the same healing factor abilities as one another. When they hold each other's hands as they struggle to absorb the opposing energies, it symbolized their unity. While Cassandra was overwhelmed by the charged opposing energies, her essence exploded into nothingness. They had won the day. What a cataclysm that this epic climax near the finale had to be lessened by the ludicrous sight of Deadpool admiring Wolverine's abs. This was completely unnecessary because it damaged the climax's momentum, just like when Deadpool is mocking the heroic sacrifice. Cliché. Even with the positives of the film, it symbolizes that relying on nostalgia is a contagion for stories. Every film from The Flash 2023
I'm Batman.
to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 2023
Sorry, I can't talk right now.
suffered from too much nostalgia. The most important aspect of scripts are not just characterization, world building, engagement, and stakes, but originality. Over the past years, especially after Endgame 2019, Hollywood has relied on legacy franchises to win over the box office, but this strategy has yielded mixed returns. Films like No Way Home earned a whopping $1.9 billion. Can you believe that? The only reason it was so successful was purely because of nostalgia.
Too weak to take it!
On the flip side, movies like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny 2023 was the colossal failure which nobody cared about because it obliterated an already obsolete franchise. However, legacy films are not what all audiences care for. If a blockbuster like Oppenheimer 2023 was able to take home multiple Oscars and score a box office of $977 million, that means that audiences have a hunger for ambitious storytelling. But even that project was not original because it was based off a historical event.
We had the pride of thinking we knew what was good for man.
We need movies like Inception 2010
We had our time together.
or SOC Punk 1996
I wasn't ready for this.
that was purely original and that make people think. Bringing people back to memory lane isn't sufficient. Deadpool and Wolverine is a masterclass of satire, but it is a failure in terms of a deep and thought-provoking experience. Unlike a project like Star Wars Revenge of the Sith 2005,
Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness.
The Fisher King 1998,
Please, let me have this.
and numerous other projects. This film doesn't tug at your heartstrings, doesn't inspire the audience or make them ponder on the realities of humankind or the universe. Despite the cool cameos, Deadpool and Wolverine does not honor the legacy of the Fox universe. Blade might have been Marvel's first success, but it was the X-Men that led them to godhood. This franchise is what gave Sony the confidence to greenlight Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Without the X-Men, the MCU would never have even existed. The movie might have included a sweet montage of the Fox X-Men films from beginning to end, but that was not enough to make this film even close to the high point of Fox's films. Sure, there were some misfires like X-Men The Last Stand, 2006, Origins, Dark Phoenix, 2019, X-Men Apocalypse, 2016. We can never deny the impact that films like X-Men 1, X2, First Class, 2011, The Wolverine, 2013, and Days of Future Past, 2014, had not just on the fans or superhero cinema, but for culture. Humor, nostalgia, and the multiverse are not enough to make great cinema. We need to make projects like the best of the old X-Men movies that pierced our souls. Filmmakers, actors, and writers need to honor characters like Wolverine, Magneto, Professor X, Jean Grey, Cyclops, and a plethora of others, just like how all the legendary X-Men writers did, like Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, Len Wein, Chris Claremont, Jonathan Hickman, and other brilliant X-Men writers. Not just about these mutants' powers or what they represent, it's how they inspire us, how they make us believe that these characters are real, that characters like Wolverine, Magneto, Rogue, Iceman, etc. are real. The MCU and all the others in mainstream Hollywood who propagate narrow-minded filmmaking, poisoned with childish comedy and superficial concepts, need to be exterminated. The world has always been an insane place, filled with inequality and chaos, but now the future of our planet seems more uncertain and endangered than ever before. As such, humanity needs hope.
Charles, we need you to hope again.
When we go to the movies, we must see it not just as an opportunity to escape into fantasy, but a way to have a conversation with that fantasy so that it can improve our reality. Like the psychiatrist Carl Jung, who was a master of interpreting dreams, we too must pierce through the beauty of stories to find new meaning in our existence. Film, art in general, is the most potent drug in existence. Like religion, it can take us to the path of enlightenment. Ultra-violence, multiverses, and feminine hypersexuality are not sufficient to improve humanity and the earth. Let us make films and stories that can heal the world. Perhaps Daredevil Born Again can be that revelation we need, just like Daredevil Season 3, 2019, and The Batman, 2022 were. MCU, please listen to folks like me. If you wish to become what you used to be, what you were always meant to be. In conclusion, I truly hope you enjoyed this review. I know I got a little too deep there, but I was just being sincere. I do not believe that the MCU will get better, but like you, I'll try and be optimistic. But you know, as the saying goes, don't wish for a better tomorrow. Make it happen. Anyways, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all very much for watching. Please be well, and see you in the next video.